Honest working folk don't have a chance unless we organise. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Tell me, which side are you on?
Our next speaker, Leanne Tobin, is descended from the Boorooberongal and Wumali, that's right, of the Darug. And she's a primary teacher, a professional artist, and she currently works casually with TAFE Outreach, providing art and cultural education classes to Indigenous students in local correctional centres. Please welcome Leanne.
Thanks everyone. Okay, this is more daunting than any jail I've ever gone into. Honestly, I've gone in with violent offenders, sex offenders, all sorts, and this is very daunting because I feel the importance of things I need to say, and I've got so much to say, and I know I'm not going to have enough time. And I've got lovely people I work with that are in the audience as well, that I know their jobs are on the line, and you know, it makes me really sad to think about it. As a primary teacher, I guess I've worked in lots of different mining towns. I've done the gambit of range of teaching positions, high school, primary, all sorts. I left teaching full-time primary because I'm not a statistics person, and that's how it's becoming, and I just can't. I'm a passion person, I'm a heart person, that's how I operate. So I don't teach full-time anymore because of that. I just can't do that. As soon as I started first day of school with the graphs of how we're comparing to other schools and that plan, that just did it for me. I thought, nah, I can't do this. So I stepped away from it. And it's funny, life has been guiding me in different ways. Life, spirit, whatever, has been guiding me in different ways, and I found myself in the jail system, working with TAFE. And I've got to say, it's one of the most rewarding jobs I've had. It's not one that's, I don't know how threatened it's going to be. I've never relied on it fully as work because it's casual, it's contractual, and funding comes and goes, and so it's not my, I don't rely on it. I keep my options open with other things. I'm also a professional artist now, I can actually say that, because I do rely on my art as an income. And I do a lot of my art's connected to telling stories of country. So that's been my passion, that's what drives my art, and it actually made my art become something more when I started telling stories about what happened in the Sydney area. Because people don't know the Aboriginal stories in this area. And so I've gone into the jails, and of course I come across sometimes relatives, a lot of Aboriginal people, of course, and on a regular basis, in, out, as Brett was saying, that's exactly how it is. I've always joked about, geez, the hard way to come to one of my art classes, you have to come back, but sometimes it's, I've met a couple of girls where it's actually they've done it on purpose to get back in. They've broken parole, whatever. They've come back in because it's winter time. They've got no home. They're on the streets. So they need shelter. It's very sad when you have that situation. I had one. I guess my role here today, I feel like it's more anecdotal. I just want to tell you little bits of things I've encountered and what I've seen work and things that have been successful, because I'm not a conventional teacher. I don't teach conventionally. I actually do literacy and numeracy roughly in class, but I don't call it that. We do art, we do painting, but we're doing cultural studies with that. I don't go in there and throw a whole heap of paper on the desk and say, here you go kids, let's go. They don't, that paper just gets left on the table. So we do a lot of talking. Painting is a way of disarming. Painting is a way of engaging. People start talking. They become very, very close and very familiar. and we learn off each other. I learn so much. I go, wow, it's a whole new thing. But for me to go in there and also talk about my learning experience as a Darug person, as an artist, finding out about my stories here, that actually encourages them to want to know about their stories. And so a lot of my artwork that I do with them is, right, let's do paintings about where you're from. Oh, I don't know where I'm from. Where's home? Oh, it might be an urban area. I've seen some incredible artwork come out of one girl, lived in Redfern. She used to, she's a drug user, in and out all the time. It was just a common thing. They're regular visitors to jail. I know them, I've seen them over the years. I've seen them change. They go in, clean, they come out of jail, addicted to something. Seriously sad, very sad. Anyway, this particular girl, I asked her, where are you from? She said, I don't know where I'm from. I've lived all my life in Redfern, in the city, on the streets. I said, so well, let's look at doing a painting about where you're from. And she ended up doing a beautiful artwork of the city nightlife, a beautiful Redfern flag on the wall there, the Harbour Bridge, and we looked at symbols, the bridge, what a bridge symbolises. And so I use a lot of that sort of contemporary symbolism, not just tokenistic Aboriginal stuff that, there's a place for it, but I love it when it's telling a story, and they love it too when they suddenly realise they've got stories to tell. A lot of the time they don't always know what they know is important. I had one woman who told me, I want to do an emu. And I said, okay, it's the Seven Sisters constellation. Wow, okay. She says, my grandmother used to take me out, walk along the fences. We'd go and collect emu eggs when the emu was lying down. That was the time to go out and collect the eggs. I said, that's bloody important information. You need to tell me. So she'd never painted before. She painted this amazing painting, and it showed that whole story. And those things are so important because what it does is trigger a thirst, a hunger. And so, they want to engage in learning again, because most of them have had terrible experiences in the education system. I've seen that. I've talked with friends of mine who have had those experiences. My mother's one of them. She only went to year 6. She was out working. By the time she was 11, 12, she was at home keeping house while everyone else was working. So she's an example, and that's still going on, where the distrust too of educational institutions, the distrust of all of those services that we try to provide. It's gaining trust again. It's a big issue. They're suspicious of everything and everyone. And I've had to go through many baptisms of fire in jail, trying to get people's trust. They get very, very broken, and you've got to try and mend them in other ways. And art is a beautiful way of healing. It's not just therapeutic, the action of painting. And I do teach the actual technique, how to hold a brush, how to apply paint, how to mix colours. But I also get them to have a little think about their childhood. And now it's coming where we're doing a unit, identifying, understanding your cultural identity as an Aboriginal person. So it's become a bit more now. I'm now in the middle of writing a resource book so they can access information that they can't access on the internet. It's been a huge project, still in the making. But I ask the girls, what do you want to know? What do you need? What should be in there that you need to know about? Sometimes being Aboriginal, they feel they've got they have to do dots. That's what we do. No, there's bigger stories. And I've seen just amazing, I get them to do self-portraits sometimes. And it's not necessarily a likeness, but it's a story about, it might be just a part of their childhood, a happy time. Let's go look about, where are you from? Oh, I'm Bourke. There's nothing out there, it's just red dust. What happens when it rains? Oh, floods, we go fishing. We catch, leather jacket. We go, we do it. Right, well, let's paint that. And suddenly it becomes this whole story, and they see their connection, and they understand a bit more about where they're from, and they want to know more. Can you get pictures of Bourke? I want to know a bit more about it. I bring in different leaves of bush plants that they want to learn more about. That thirst for education is there. It's just that I guess we go in there with ideas of how we're going to educate. What I've had happen with my experiences working in the system, had beautiful, beautiful people. One of them sitting in the audience now, Lynn, I know her passion, her desire, that drives me too. We work off each other when I work at Emu Plains, and it's enabled me to do amazing things with the girls there. We've seen incredible changes. I had a beautiful story just recently with one of the young girls. She'd been addicted to ice, she'd been in and out of jail, and we're not allowed to make contact when they leave the jails. But my sister got rung up by her uncle from Wiradjuri country. He's a respected elder over there. And he'd rung her up because he wanted to get a message to me to say thank you, because this girl had gone out and it was the first time she'd shown interest in wanting to know more about who she was, where she's from. She's pale skin like me, so that's another thing that's, for them, it's really important to see that I'm standing up and talking and I'm respected as an Aboriginal person, because that is an issue inside as well. We talk about stolen generations, what happened. I explain historical events to them, why their grandmother might have, their mother abandoned them. They need to know those answers. You know, I hate my mother, she just abandoned me. Well, what was happening at the time? Where were they from? Let me tell you what was happening at the time. This is what was happening. You know, the exemption certificates. I showed them those documents. These were actually documents put out by government that said you were not allowed to associate with family, weren't allowed to speak language, weren't allowed to practice ritual ceremony. And when they see that, that's just such a shock. Well, that's their parents' or their grandparents' experience. They don't know that because they're not told about it. Their parents and grandparents don't want to talk about it, so it's secret. And that's where education is really, really important, because even just bringing in those bits and pieces, it adds sense to their lives and it puts them on a path of wanting to know. And that's where I guess the public education system is one that, you know, supports that and nourishes that, nurtures that. And, you know, the idea of it going privatised scares the hell out of me. Where's the transparency going to be then? You know, we need to have it open and really, really out there throughout the continuity factor too, you know, from school onto uni or TAFE or whatever it may be. That continuity, we need that. But there's so much more I could talk about. 15 minutes, just as I said, it's not going to be long enough. But thanks for listening, and I hope that sort of just maybe just coloured a bit more of the picture on the coal face. Okay, thank you.